the question a lot from people, is it too late to invest? Now, the thing about it is, it's a hard question to answer because basically what you're dealing with is you're dealing with a fluctuating economic situation. For example, when I was 18 years old and I had just started working, the market then hadn't even hit Dow 13,000. The market back then was completely different than the market that I saw within the past 5 years before I turned 40. Likewise, the market is completely different now that I'm 40 than it was for my parents when they were 18 or my parents when they turned 40. The entire economic situation was completely different. For example, your average job when they were my age at 18 paid enough where you could support an entire family. The average house was about $100,000 or less. The average car was less than $20,000, maybe less than $30,000, but definitely less than $20,000 in most cases. They didn't really have much back then. It's not like you were dealing with like heated and cooled seats and navigation systems that cost thousands of dollars for a unit. But the situation is completely different. And with my mentality, my investment mentality, I personally think that as long as you are able to hold on and you're not day trading, because they've already done research and research has showed that day traders typically don't earn enough money to even account for, say, a minimum wage job lifestyle. And like they're basically saying that the average day trader doesn't make $35,000 a year in net profit, to put that in a different way of speaking. The issue ultimately is it's like you have to be able to spot trends and you have to be able to invest in things that you believe have longevity, that you believe are going to give you a dividend repayment. Because as far as I'm concerned, if something doesn't pay a dividend, it's really not investing. It's really gambling. And some people might say, oh, yeah, well, you have a number of stocks in your portfolios, your TD Ameritrade, your Schwab, your E-Trade, that don't pay dividends, which is actually true. But the thing about it is some of those companies did pay dividends, but they stopped paying during COVID. And some of those companies have announced that they will start paying dividends. Like, for example, when I bought into Ford during COVID, as you can see right here in this portfolio, I bought an extra 100 shares of Ford. Back then, it was only like $5.36. So you think about it. I just spent $500 buying Ford, and Ford didn't pay a dividend. But now Ford is paying a 2.95% dividend. So the thing about it is I specifically focus on companies that pay dividends. However, there's always a possibility that an economic downturn will make it so that they either stop paying it or you might buy into a company that starts paying it at a later date. So I guess I kind of proved my point right there. Ford is a perfect example. There are others. For example, the oil companies, which I rave and rave about, like SM and SLCA. The only reason why I spent money buying those two oil companies specifically above some others that I could have bought was that those two companies paid a dividend. SM pays 0.04. This isn't all the SM I have. It's just that this was all I could afford in this portfolio because I keep my trading portfolio separate. Like if I win money, if I gain money in one, I don't usually take that and put it into another portfolio. And the reason why is because when you move your money from portfolio to portfolio, that can cloud your judgment as to how much you're actually returning net. So, for example, when I look up here and I say, okay, I started with $5,000, now I'm at $35,000. That's pretty straight, clear, forward. You understand it. But now if I started moving money from other portfolios into this portfolio, or if I started taking money out of this portfolio and putting it into another portfolio, it muddies your judgment. It really does. I like to keep my accounts separate. My bank accounts I keep separate. My housing accounts I keep separate. It's like, that's just how I am. Everybody has their own strategy. It's up to you. You do what you want. But basically, if you're a person who's just starting out, like let's say you're like 18 years old, because I've been giving out all this free goddamn game, but nobody's listening. Y'all putting your money in fucking cryptocurrency and shit. But the bottom line is, if you're starting out, my recommendation is that you pick companies that do pay a dividend and you pick companies that you know. And I've said this numerous times. Companies that you know, gas companies you know, Sunoco, Texaco, Verizon, BP, Shell, Citibank. Every single company on my dividend earning list are companies that you know. These are companies that have been around for a while. These are not fly-by-night companies. These are not meme stocks. These are companies with stable history. They call them blue chip stocks, basically. Companies that everybody knows. Like if I say the word Wells Fargo, you know it's a bank. You know exactly who they are. If I say Capital One, you know who they are. If I say Walmart, you know who they are. If I say Logitech and Sirius XM, you know who they are. And that's just it. I mean, if you're the type of person who's just starting investment, I have to say this. First of all, I've always stressed that you really should make sure your credit is in as good a shape as possible, which means that you pay down your debts first. After you've paid off your debts, like if you paid off your student loans or if you paid off major credit card loans, that's when you can start considering investing. You know, in America, somehow we got this mistaken belief that people have quote unquote disposable income, to which I like, and I've heard people use that term and I'm like, wait a minute, your fucking income is not disposable. You know what's disposable? Toilet paper, sanitary napkins, used condoms. Those things are disposable. Disposable income. Are you telling me that it's just money I could just throw away? And when I think about all the money, I have family members, they go to these fucking casinos, and I think about all the money they waste going to a casino. And I told them up front, I'm like, listen, and I've told them some people hate getting into arguments with me, but they can't argue with my car is sitting outside. They can't argue with my real estate pieces. They can't argue with that. But I've told them up front, I've been like, listen, if I could take the money that you waste going to the fucking casino and put that into the stock market, I'd have made you a multimillionaire. But they're busy going to motherfucking Atlantic City. Oh, but it's fun. We like to sit there and pull the fucking slot machine. And I'm like, yeah, but that's a waste of fucking money. I could have put you in oil. I could have put you in bank stocks with fucking dividend returns. If you really are so old and you're so bored that you just want to sit back and watch a computer, I can get you a nice big widescreen monitor just like mine, and you can just sit up in your house and you can just watch the fucking money just count itself. I mean, but these people are determined. They want to have slot machines. They want to invest in crypto and waste their fucking money gambling and shit. So it's like, my thing is whatever. It's like at a certain point you get tired of arguing with people. I guarantee you this. I ain't going to be arguing with them when my brand new Cadillac Lyric all-wheel drive pulls up. See, that, you know, that's the crazy thing about people. People ignore, you're giving out free fucking game. There's a lot of these fake-ass crypto gurus and these fake-ass debt consolidation and debt counselors. And these motherfuckers demand that you pay them money in order for them to talk to you. I'm giving out free game. Nobody listens. Nobody listens. But the funny thing is, when they see me in a new car, or when they see me flying to Maldives in business class and I'm just sipping champagne the whole time, everybody's like, how did you afford that? How could you do that? How did you afford to go to Maldives? That's my dream vacation. How could you afford to do that? And I tell them, I'm like, I fucking told you how I did it. You just didn't listen. You just didn't listen. Like when I go to Bora Bora, you're going to have people like, oh man, I wish I could go to Bora Bora. How'd you get to do that? How'd you go to Bora Bora? I'd be like, but I told you how I did it. You just didn't pay any fucking attention to me. And then the funny thing is, when you start trying to explain it, that's when they just turn you off. They're like, yeah, all right, whatever. It's like they don't want to work or something. It's like they just don't want, like you're explaining the shit, the whole process, just telling them how to do it. You know, I think the best thing that comes close to that is like when you have parents and they don't understand how to use Bluetooth or Wi-Fi, and you try to sit them down and explain it to them how you connect to a Wi-Fi network, how you connect to a Bluetooth network. It's like they don't even want to hear it. They just want you to do it and that's it. It's like they just want you to hurry up, get it on the network and just be quiet. That's all they want. So my thing is, it's like, listen, if I'm giving you free game and you're just like fucking buying Shiba Inu, it's like, I don't know what to say, you know. I'm just sorry. I just don't know what to say. And again, I believe that you have to be able to spot trends and you have to be able to buy and hold. Most long-term investors, even Warren Buffett, Charlie Munger, they'll tell you if you buy and hold, chances are you're going to come out clean on the other side. Some people focus on the temporary losses. Like, for example, there are a couple of positions that I've taken where I've lost a little bit of money. They'll come back eventually. Electric vehicles specifically. It's funny, Rivian, Lucid, Neo, X-Pump, all of these electric vehicle companies, because of the hype and the enthusiasm, most of them shot right up. But the problem was they were being short sold and they were being traded very quickly by day traders and they went back down. Does that mean I'm going to sell? Oh, no, I'm not going to sell. I'm going to hold. Whether it's 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, I can hold for 4 or 5 years. I mean, I don't retire for the next 10 years. I can hold 10 years if it comes down to it. And I can wait and I can watch. And that's just that. And even if those positions never return, I can still make my money elsewhere. And most people will say if it's down, you know, I think it's funny when your stock is down and in the red, unlike cryptocurrency, the cryptocurrency people are like, oh, yeah, well, that means it's on sale. It's time to buy more. Yeah, but these stocks are pointing to real companies that make a real product, that make a physical product, that make cars, that make bike, that make airplane batteries, that make airplane parts, cruise ships, all types of stuff. And they can't seem to understand that, well, you know, dollar cost averaging is basically you just shoveling money into a situation and you have no idea where it's going. But at least in my case, I have some idea that the company itself is solvent. You know, and it's just crazy. It's like you can't argue with these people. I mean, marijuana came and went. You remember my videos. I was talking about Kamala Harris. As soon as she got in, they were going to push to make marijuana legal. Now that that's over, gas prices are sky high. Baby formula is unaffordable or unfindable. And Russia has completely beaten Ukraine, although they haven't called a ceasefire or peace yet, which will probably come within the next couple of months because Russia, see, the sad thing is Americans expected Russia to just roll right over Ukraine really, really quickly. Turns out that they decided to fight slow and methodically. The slow and methodical fighting because is basically them saying, you know what, we've got time and you don't. And that's what they never understood. I understood it from the very beginning. I mean, I really did expect Russia was just going to blow them out of their socks. However, when I sat back and thought about it, I was like, okay, you know what they're doing? They're being slow and methodical. Well, guess what? That's how you have to be. You have to be slow and methodical in order to win in this climate, this economic climate. You're dealing with a Federal Reserve that's starting to raise interest rates. Low interest rates is what gave us bubbles in the stock market and gave us malinvestment and bubbles in the crypto market. The low interest rate days are over. People now who've bought homes, those people have their homes. Those homes are assets that they're not going to sell anytime soon. Because if they did sell them, they would end up having to buy a new home with a higher interest rate. And they'd probably end up losing money unless they were able to sell their first home at a win and gain so much profit that they were able to buy the next home in cash. Most likely that's not possible in many cases. Now, I'm not saying it's not possible, but in many cases it's not, because the current home values have skyrocketed. And I don't see them coming down anytime soon for the choice properties. Now, there are a couple of pieces of shit out there that, you know, somebody's trying to unload. But, you know, you pick what you pick. You know, you get what you get. You pick what you pick. I've already got mine. You know, I was hoping to be able to find a third property to buy. Unfortunately, this market is so fucked up that everything's dry. And if you do try to buy a starter house, or even the cheapest house you can find is still $700,000, maybe even $600,000 if you're lucky. I'm not spending that kind of money. I'll sit and wait with what I have, and that's that. So for people who are starting out, again, there are a lot of industries to buy into. Airline travel is down again because we have a pilot shortage. They've been canceling routes. You remember when the airlines started having their problems in 2020, I told you to buy airlines in the very beginning. Then I realized, well, this COVID thing is not going away for a little while. So it might be a little while that you might want to wait unless you can get in at the bottom. But these are real companies. And these companies aren't going anywhere because the government is willing to bail them out for national security purposes, if nothing else. Boeing makes military industrial jets. Boeing makes parts for airplanes all over the world. Boeing at 140 is on sale. A real sale, not that crypto bullshit. That's a real sale right there. Their high over the last 52 weeks was $258. That just shows you that when the rally does start in companies like Boeing and Lockheed Martin and Raytheon, the question is, will you be in it or will you not be in it? I was telling you years ago about lithium mining stock. And to be fair, I never could have imagined that oil would go where it's gone. I never could have imagined it. I gave you the big ass oil list. I gave you every single oil stock I owned, either in my Charles Schwab, my E-Trade, or my TD Ameritrade. Well, most of them now are paying dividends, but before, all of these dividend spots were blank simply because oil went negative. When oil went negative, if you watch my video, I'm an oil man. I was buying oil stocks for pennies, just like SM and SLCA. But the bottom line is, I was arguing with people who preferred to put their money in GameStop and fucking, what is that stupid shit, AMC. I just went to an AMC theater to see Top Gun. Yeah, it was really comfortable because they had those cushy seats. The problem is they couldn't fill the theaters up because there's so much space being wasted. And then it occurred to me, well, this is the reason why AMC was damn near fucking bankrupt, not just because of COVID, but because they were losing money on their model. I got people asking me, oh, what do you think about the AMC short squeeze that's supposedly going on right now? First of all, after the shit that Reddit pulled in GameStop, the government itself gave those hedge funds a chance to protect themselves by either getting rid of their positions or otherwise protecting themselves. In fact, the European government, and I reported on this, the European government stopped trading. The American government in certain places stopped trading. Robinhood paused trading. They did everything they could to protect those hedge funds. And a lot of people, like you think about it, GameStop, anybody who bought this shit over $200, over just $200 has lost a lot of money. Anybody who bought AMC over $30 lost a lot of money. I saw it coming from the very beginning. I made videos about it. I was like, this is bullshit. Stay away. Some people listened. Some people didn't. My personal clients, my personal friends, they did listen to me because they had no choice. When they called me up and they were like, how do I get in on this? I told them, no, you don't do this. Don't put your money in this. It was just that simple. They didn't know how to go around me, so they couldn't get in soon enough. And because they couldn't get in, this shit never was able to claim their money. Now, there were some people who downloaded that Robinhood app, and once they got into Robinhood, they thought they were going to the moon. Yeah, well, that shit never fucking happened. In fact, Robinhood itself is trading below $10. Below $10, and that's down from it. When it started, they ran it up to $85, and now they're trading below $10. How about that? Coinbase, the same thing. They bet on cryptocurrency. They're trading at fucking $73, but they ran that up to 368. Ran it up to 368. Look where they are now. That just tells you right there who you're dealing with. You're dealing with scam artists. You're dealing with bullshit. That's what you're dealing with. So you have a choice. It's like you can either adopt my way of doing things or you can do it your way and you can lose fucking money. And that's just how it is. That's just how it is. Because, see, I'm going after things. I don't care how boring they are. I'm going after things that are stable, solid, that make sense. So here's a story that I saw in CNBC. This 29-year-old makes $400,000 per year and owns 3 properties. 5 things I refuse to spend money on. $36,000 a year to $378,000 a year on Fiverr. So in 2018, I hit my first six-figure year as a freelance writer and fibber, earning nearly $300,000 in revenue writing vlogs, press releases, and website content for clients. That's a hell of a lot of writing, I would guess. Now at 29, I have 6 streams of income from freelance writing, influencer sponsorships, ebook sales, course sales, ad revenue, and affiliate revenue. Last year, I brought in a little over $400,000 in net income. Like any member of the gig economy, I know that I can't count on making this much money forever. So while I sometimes splurge on food, entertainment, and travel, I otherwise save and invest aggressively to boost my net worth. I also own 3 properties in my home state of Florida. Combined, they're worth close to $1.2 million. Very nice. So what doesn't she spend her money on? Well, new designer clothes and handbags. Gucci, Prada, Femi, all that bullshit. It's like half of y'all can't even spell those things. Balenciaga, all that shit. My thing, well, first of all, I'm not a European woman, so you wouldn't see me buying all that stuff. It's like the most expensive things I've probably bought are either watches or suits. And even in the case of suits, I'll go to Thailand and I'll have suits tailor cut for like $200 a piece. And you'd look at it and you'd think that I paid $1,000 a suit here. And the thing about it is, I think the most I ever paid for a suit here was probably like $700 or $800, and that was at DXL. Obviously, you got to spend the most of the money being tailor cut. But see, I actually prefer to go out of the country because you do that, you could bring your clothes back, pay $200, maybe not even $200 a suit. Thai money and the Thai, what is it? The Thai dollar, whatever they call it. I forget what it's called. But anyway, new designer clothes and handbags. I'm not doing it. My rule is to spend no more than $2,500 a year on shopping. Okay, beautiful. Unsubsidized flights. Now, everybody has their own strategy when it comes to paying for flights. I've showed you my strategy using Capital One Venture Card. I pay for everything on my credit card. I pay it off immediately so I don't pay interest. I net the frequent flyer miles and points, and that's just it. And when you watch me go to Seychelles or Maldives or Bora Bora, which is coming up, and you watch me flying business class, just understand that that's how I paid for it. I paid for it with money that I already spent, only I was getting percentages back on money that I was already spending. Okay, rent. Rent is a big deal. Now, she goes straight into telling you what I told you. You shouldn't rent from anybody. If you're living with your parents, you should save up enough money to buy a property. Now, unfortunately, now that's probably harder than ever because the average starter house is over $600,000, and I don't believe this bubble is crashing anytime soon. It says, I purchased my first property, which I currently live in, March 2021, then bought an investment property in Miami in October 2021, and another in March 2022. Now, I was able to buy my properties in 2018 and 2019. So fortunately, I was able to get in before COVID. So I have my properties. I got one rental with multiple people in it. I have a second rental, and that's doing pretty good. But I was thinking about selling it because I got an offer. But so far, so good. I was hoping I'd be able to get 3 rentals, but I can't afford in this market to buy a third because it's crazy. Anything I'd want to rent is like $800,000. I can't afford it. And I'll just be honest about it. I'll be like, yeah, listen, I can't afford. I'm not going to pay $800,000 when I got houses for less than $300,000. I'm not going to pay you fucking $500,000 more. That doesn't make sense. I'm not doing it. So anyway, drinks after 8 p.m. Now, let me tell you something. I've kind of changed my attitude about alcohol, because see, what I've realized is if you save up your money and you don't go drinking all the time, because first of all, when you go drinking, you're not just spending your money at the bar, you're also tipping these people. And I'm not trying to, get into a bartender's way. First of all, bartenders are always going to make money. But my thing is, why should I go to a restaurant or bar and tip these people and have to spend, 30% more on my food when I could just save my money? I can go on a really nice vacation. And just like you saw when I was in Maldives, I can have nonstop open bar. And that's it. Because I don't even drink that heavy alcohol. I don't drink that Hennessy and shit like that. I don't even care about those things. The only thing I like is like champagne, white wine, red wine. And that's it. Like, I like sparkling wines. It's like I don't like all all that crazy shit. Like, I like Malibu rum and maybe some rum forms, but it's like I don't drink heavily. I just don't do it. So my thing is, she's right about that. You save a lot of money not drinking. Not only that, it helps your liver and your kidneys, but Uber trips less than 3 miles. Now, I found this really interesting. I know I have females in my life that will take a fucking Uber just about everywhere. And I've always tried to convince them. I'm like, yeah, well, you should buy a car. It doesn't have to be a very expensive car, but you should just get a car. And my thing is, Uber has gotten steadily more expensive because of the price of gas. Most Uber drivers right now can't afford to drive their Ubers simply because gas prices have gone up so much. So my thing is, her suggestion. Now, I don't know what city she lives in. I'm pretty sure it actually says it. Maybe I skipped over. If you live in Manhattan, maybe you can get away with walking 1 or 2 miles. Maybe you can get away with walking 3 miles. I mean, that's really goddamn good exercise. If you're walking 3 miles to and from someplace, you can't get much better exercise than that. But she says that if it's up to 3 miles, she'll just walk. I think that's brilliant. I try to walk at least 12,000 steps per day, even when I'm home in Southwest Florida, so I plan my days around being able to walk places. Okay, that's really nice. Walking saves me more than $300 a month on transportation when I'm traveling without my Jeep Wrangler. This is what gets to me. Why is it all of these women want these damn Jeep Wranglers? That I do not understand. All of these women want these damn Jeep Wranglers. Say, why do these women love these damn Jeep Wranglers so much? A Jeep Wrangler just flipped over doing its IIHS crash test. So my thing is, it's like, and I did a video driving the Jeep Wrangler 4xe. And by the way, as a Stellantis shareholder who has over 1,000 shares worth of Stellantis, I'm not knocking the product. I'm just saying I have no idea why women want this car so much. Is it because Barbie had one? I don't know. Barbie had a Jeep Wrangler. I think she has a G-Wagon, and I also think Barbie has a freaking Lamborghini. But considering how much money Barbie has, she might as well have a Bugatti too. She might as well have a Chiron. But anyway, it received a marginal score in the side crash test. And then supposedly this freaking thing, when they were doing the side impact, the thing flipped over or something. Like, these women love this goddamn truck. I have no idea what it is. I guess maybe it's because these modern women want to be flexing their manly muscles or something. I don't know. I know it's psychological, because I know with women and these SUVs, having an SUV gives these women a sense of power on the road, which is why, me with the fast SUV, I freaking drag race them every single time I get a chance. So it's like, hey lady, oh, you got a brand new Hyundai Palisade, huh? Yo, I'm gonna drag race your ass today. And they try to take off from the light, and then they find out what a Hemi actually means. So it's like, I don't play those games. It's like, if you line up next to me, I don't care if you're a man or a woman, you got yourself a race right there. But you know how I am. I don't stop. I just don't. I keep it coming. So anyway, they love these damn Jeep Wranglers. I don't know what that's about. I just don't. I think it's the feeling of power that they get. I think that's what it is. They want to feel like they're boss babes or something like that. Sometimes a Mercedes just doesn't do it for them or something. I guess that's got to be what it is. I don't know. Once again, back to business. The only thing I can recommend to you if you're starting out your portfolio is that you focus on dividend-paying stock, specifically in companies that you know. But once again, pay off your debts first. Don't get caught spending all your money in stocks when you yourself are being eaten alive by capital gains. I paid off my credit cards. I've kept zero balances. I've kept my student loans paid off. And that's just that. I mean, once you pay these things off, it's like you don't have to do it anymore. And at that point, you actually will have money that you can actually invest. So, that's just what it is. All these gurus, these motherfuckers won't show you this shit right here. They won't do it because they don't want you to know. Like, some of these people online, they'll be like, oh yeah, well, you should get people to show you their personal credit reports and all that bullshit. my thing is, yeah, that's all cool and everything, but ultimately, most people, they're not really trying to get debt free like they should be. What they really want to do is they want to fix their credit so that they can afford things that they normally couldn't afford. If you go out and you try to buy certain cars right now, or you even try to buy houses, chances are you're going to get told no. And you're going to get told no if your credit is not spotless. And that's the reason why I continue to tell people, make sure your credit is spotless. When your credit is spotless, you can do whatever you want and you'll save money doing it. I mean, look at that. Look at that. Look right there. When I walk into the bank, when I walk into wherever I want to buy something, it's like they treat me like my last name is Lefkowitz. They could just call me Big Truck Series Kovitz. That's what they could call me. And that's just how it is. And they never seen no shit like this. It's like when I pick up my Cadillac Lyric and they're trying to figure out ways to screw me on my interest rate. They can't, because they're like, oh shit, this guy must know the game. He's not going to pay overcharge. He's not going to pay over sticker. This guy's not going to pay some interest rate that we pull out of our ass. He's just not going to do it. And that's how you got to be. Because when you do it like that, when you do it that hard, it's like, it's just like that. I mean, that's just what it is. It's like, you can even see right there, I fell off 1 month somehow by a point. 1 point fell off. Just 1 point. I ain't playing that game with these people. I ain't playing with these people.